Good afternoon, children. So today we are going to learn the last chapter of first POC, that is chemical coordination and integration. So this is one of the important chapter under human physiology is concerned. So in this chapter, so we'll be studying about endocrine glands and its hormones. So the main topics to be covered in these chapters are endocrine glands and hormones, human endocrine system, hormones of heart, kidney and gastrointestinal tract, and the last one is mechanism of hormonal action. So first of all, you should know what are endocrine glands. So endocrine glands are the ductless glands, so which secrete the hormones directly into the blood. So these hormones are nothing but the non-nutrient chemicals which act as intercellular messengers and are produced in very trace amount. I hope you know neural system will not enter all the region. It cannot enter inside the cell. So the coordination can be done where the neurons are not entering. So that region coordination can be done with the help of chemical messengers. So even vertebrates possess highly complicated, so the endocrine system, whereas invertebrates possess very simple endocrine system with very few hormones. So whereas large number of chemicals act as hormones in higher organisms like vertebrates. So now we'll study which are the various endocrine glands and its hormones. Okay. First of all, the major gland which is situated on the brain, so that is called hypothalamus. So as you know, the hypothalamus is the basal part of diencephalon, forebrain, and it regulates a wide spectrum of body functions. It contains several groups of neurosecretory cells called nuclei, which produces the various hormones. So these hormones are mainly categorized into two categories. One is the releasing hormones, another one is the inhibiting hormones. So some of the releasing hormones are thyrotropin releasing. So this stimulates the release of TSH from anterior pituitary. Same a corticotropin releasing hormone. So this releasing hormone stimulates the anterior pituitary to release ACTH hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone. It stimulates the release of gonadotropins like FSH, LH, etc. from anterior pituitary. Same a growth hormone releasing hormone. That helps in release of growth hormone from the pituitary gland. And same way there is a growth hormone inhibiting hormone. So this inhibiting hormone inhibits the growth. Whenever the growth does not take place, so the growth hormone releasing hormone is not secreting, instead it secretes the growth hormone inhibiting hormone. You know, human growth will be stop around 21 years or 20 years. Slight variation will come from the one person to another person. So that time we does not require the growth hormone. So that time inhibiting hormone will be releasing. And other hormones like prolactin releasing factor, it helps for the synthesis and stimulation of the PRL, and prolactin inhibiting hormone. So you know, every time the mammary gland does not synthesize the milk. Only when it is required during lactational period, it synthesizes. After that, this synthesis will stop. So this is done by the prolactin inhibiting hormone. So the broadly, this hypothalamus, which stimulates the other glands for the secretion of hormones. Okay, so it also inhibits the other glands for the stopping of secretion of the hormones. So the next very important gland, which is called the master gland. So that is pituitary gland. So this pituitary gland, so which is located on the bony cavity called sella turcica, and it is attached to the hypothalamus. So it is controlled by the hypothalamus or other neural mechanism, and therefore the middleman, okay, it is considered as a middleman. It is also considered as a master gland because it controls all the other glands secretions. So this is broadly divisible into two regions. One is called adenohypophysis or anterior pituitary, and another region is called the neurohypophysis or the posterior pituitary. So this anterior pituitary or adenohypophysis further divisible into pars distalis and the pars intermedia. So pars distalis, which secrete the hormones like growth hormone GH, so thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, prolactin hormone, luteinizing hormone, and follicular stimulating hormone. So these are the 6 hormones secreting from the adenohypophysis anterior pituitary, a region called pars distalis. Another region of anterior pituitary that is called pars intermedia, which secrete MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. Okay. So easily you can remember the anterior pituitary hormone by the small slogan called FLAT PG. FLAT, F-L-A-T, PG. F stands for FSH, L stands for LH, A ACTH, T TSH, P prolactin, PRL, and G is growth hormone. So thus you can remember the 6 hormone in a easy way. And posterior pituitary secrete only 2 hormones. One is a growth oxytocin, which is also called the birth hormone. Oxytocin is also called birth hormone. So another hormone is a vasopressin, or it is called antidiuretic hormone. Okay, antidiuretic hormone. Now what are the various roles of this pituitary hormone? How does it influence one's coordination in human being? So the growth hormone, which passes all the regions of our body. So it is secreting by the pituitary gland, and it passes through the blood and it reaches all the body. It stimulates the growth as well as repair. Suppose if it secretes more, so it leads to the gigantism, huge growth, as well as deficiency leads to the dwarfism. TSH, that is a thyroid stimulating hormone. So its target organ is the thyroid gland. So it helps to secrete the T4 as well as T3, that is tetraiodothyronin and the triiodothyronin. Major function is to regulate the body's metabolic activities. When we come to the ACTH, so its target organ is the adrenal gland, and it stimulates the adrenal gland to produce the glucocorticoids. So next is the PRL. Target organ is the mammary gland. So it stimulates the growth of the mammary gland, as well as it helps for the formation of the milk in the mammary gland. And next is LHS. LHS influences both men as well as women. So it is called the gonadotropin. And this LHS and FSH, so it stimulates the gonadal activities in human being. So LH stimulates the synthesis and the secretion of hormone called androgen from the testis. So that is nothing but the testosterone. And it stimulates the ovaries to produce estrogen as well as progesterone. That is why it is called gonadotropins. And another hormone is called FSH, that is the follicular stimulating hormone. So during the puberty stage, so there will be a formation as well as the growth of the follicles takes place in the ovary of the female. So follicles are converting into from the primary to secondary to tertiary to Graafian follicle. So this growth of the follicle takes place due to the follicular stimulating hormone. So pars intermedia, so it secretes the melanocyte stimulating hormone. Its target organ is the skin. You know, melanin is the pigment on the skin. It gives the color to the skin. So it stimulates the production and release of melanin pigment, which regulate the pigmentation of the skin. So posterior pituitary secrete the or release the hormone called oxytocin. Actually, this hormone is synthesizing in the hypothalamus by the neurosecretory cells, but it synthesizes cells to the posterior pituitary. So posterior pituitary is the one which releases that. So it is called pituitary hormones. So its a target organ is uterus as well as mammary gland. How does it act on uterus? You know, uterus is made up of outer perimetrium, middle myometrium, innermost endometrium. So the myometrium is made up of smooth muscles. So during the parturition process, that is when the fetus is completely developed or completely grown, so there will be a contraction of this smooth muscle takes place. That is due to the presence of oxytocin. It stimulates the vigorous contraction of uterus at the time of childbirth, or we call it as a parturition process. Okay. So another one is it acts on mammary gland. It also helps for the ejection of the milk, not the secretion of the milk. So it helps in ejection of the milk. So you know, ejection of the milk takes place when the baby sucks the mammary gland nipple. So another one is called vasopressin or the ADH, vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone. So it acts on the kidney and it stimulates the reabsorption of water and electrolytes by the distal convoluted tubules and reduces the loss of water through urine. So when the urine passes in the form of hypotonic, that is more amount of urine if it passes, that condition is called diuresis. So the person amount of liquid will be reduces if there is the diuresis. So this vasopressin helps for the reabsorption of water, thus it prevents the diuresis. So these are the hormones. So you have to remember the hormones name, which part of the pituitary it secretes, as well as the major role of that. Even growth hormone, also excessive release of growth hormone in adult leads to the disease called acromegaly. So that is severe disfigurement, especially in the face, is called the acromegaly. Okay. So you can see the face of the acromegaly. This type of face disfigurement can be seen when there is excessive growth hormone will be releasing in the middle age, okay, in adult. So already you know there is a dwarfism as well as gigantism. So hypersecretion leads to the gigantism, whereas hyposecretion leads to the dwarfism. So next we'll come to the next gland. So that is called pineal gland. Okay. So pineal gland is a small gland. So it is reddish gray and about the size of grain of rice in human, and it is located on the dorsal side of forebrain. Sometimes even in the NEET, so which side, dorsal side, ventral side, lateral side, such type of questions also can be asked for the NEET. So that's why you should know very specifically which area, the location of various endocrine glands. So it secretes only one hormone called melatonin. So it secretes the hormone called melatonin. So the major function of melatonin is it affects the modulation of sleep pattern in the circadian rhythm. So it controls the circadian is called sleep awake cycle. Okay. It helps in maintenance of the body temperature also, and also it influences the metabolism, pigmentation and menstrual cycle, as well as defense capability in our body. So next important gland is called the thyroid gland. So this thyroid gland is composed of two lobes which are located on either side of the trachea. Okay. It is butterfly shaped and located at the base of the neck below the thyroid cartilage. And if you see here, you can see the structure of thyroid gland. And if you take the section of this thyroid gland, internal section, anatomy, you can find two regions. So one is the follicles, as well as, so in between the follicles, you can find the stromal tissues. Each thyroid follicle is composed of follicular cells. So in between that follicular cells in the central region, there is a cavity. So this cavity will be filled with thyroid hormones. So there are two thyroid hormone, T3 and T4. Generally we call it as a thyroxine hormone. So this thyroxine hormone which is secreting from the follicular cells, whereas stromal cells secrete another hormone called thyrocalcitonin hormone, that is secreting from the stromal cell. So thyroxine is secreting from the follicular cell. Now what are the functions of these thyroid hormones? So regulation of basal metabolic rate. So we human beings have one basal metabolic rate, that is the control of metabolism of carbohydrate, proteins as well as fats can be done hormone. Next, it also maintains the water and electrolyte balance. Okay, water and electrolyte balance also maintained by this. And secrete thyrocalcitonin, which regulates the blood calcium level. It supports the process of red blood cell formation, that is nothing but the erythropoiesis formation. So by deficiency of this, there are various disorders are causing. Even more amount of secretion also causes the disorders. So deficiency of this thyroxine is generally known as hypothyroidism. So one of the diseases is called goiter. So goiter can be even formed due to the deficiency of iodine in the diet also. So there will be swelling of the thyroid gland, which leads to the low secretion of thyroxine, where the basal metabolic rate will be alters. Okay. So another one is called the cretinism. So cretinism is hypothyroidism during pregnancy, causes the defective development and maturation of the growing baby, leading to the stunted growth. So that is called the cretinism. In pregnant lady, when there is a lack of this thyroxine, it leads to the baby with the cretinism, that is stunted growth. The baby will be small, as well as mental retardation, low intelligent quotient, abnormal skin, and flautism, etc. are the various symptoms of this cretinism. And in case of adult women, hypothyroidism may cause the menstrual cycle to become irregular also. Okay. So another disease which is causing due to the deficiency of thyroid hormone in adult, that is called myxedema. So there swelling of the face, you can see the diagram here. Swelling of the face, lips, eyelids, tongue, thickening of the skin can be seen. Okay. So it's also called even Gulch disease. So next, hyperthyroidism. So hyper means more secretion of thyroxine hormone. Graves disease, or it is also called exophthalmic goiter. You can see the image where the eyeball protruded. So this condition is called exophthalmic goiter. So here also enlargement of the thyroid gland takes place, where the basal metabolic rate increases and the weight loss etc. takes place. So these all are the general disorders related to thyroid hormones. Next gland is called the parathyroid gland. So this is located behind the outer wings of the thyroid gland. They are in two pairs. It secretes the peptide hormone called parathyroid hormones. So the secretion of parathormone or parathyroid hormone, so it regulates the calcium level in the blood. So it also regulates the phosphorus and magnesium in bones as well as blood. So it increases the blood calcium level. Okay, thus it maintains the calcium in the blood. Okay. Next gland is called the thymus gland. So there is some speciality of thymus gland. It's only one gland which going on reduces its size when the age increases. So it is located on the dorsal side of the heart and aorta, and it secretes the hormone called thymosin. So it plays a major role in development of immune system. So you know that there are two. One is the bone marrow, another one is the thymus. So bone marrow is the region where the B and T lymphocytes are producing. So T lymphocyte will get maturation and the proliferation in thymus. So that is why it plays a role in cell mediated immunity. So T lymphocytes helps the B lymphocyte to produce the antibody whenever required. So it promotes the production of antibodies to provide the humoral immunity to our body. Okay. It is going on degenerates and finally it disappears in old individual. So the next gland is called the adrenal gland. Okay. So this adrenal gland which is situated above the kidney, suprarenal it is. So you can see the gland here. So it is situated above the kidney. A pair of adrenal gland is present according to the kidney. So it also, how if you take the section of this adrenal gland, it possesses two regions. Outer region is called the cortex. Inner region is called the medulla. So adrenal medulla, that is the inner region, which secrete two hormone, adrenaline, or it is also called epinephrine, and noradrenaline, also called norepinephrine. So this is generally called catecholamines. So as it is helps in fight, fright and flight, it's also called emergency hormone. Both the hormones increases the heartbeat, the strength of the heart contraction and rate of respiration. So it stimulates the breakdown of glycogen so that the glucose amount in the blood will increases. So this glucose helps for the avoiding the emergency condition. Any emergency stress situation, etc., we can able to face. So when there is a stressful condition, so there will be secretion of this catecholamines. So next, when you take the outer region of adrenal gland cortex, so this outer region secretes the corticoid hormone. Okay, adrenal cortex. So this adrenal cortex, which is divisible into 3 regions. So the outermost region is called zona glomerulosa. Middle region is called zona fasciculata, and the innermost region is called zona reticularis. So this innermost region secrete androgens. So middle region which secrete glucocorticoids. So glucocorticoids are the hormones. So this stimulate the glucogenesis, gluconeogenesis, lipolysis, proteolysis, and it inhibits the cellular uptake and utilization of amino acids. So the best example for glucocorticoid is cortisol. So this increases the blood glucose level. Okay, glucocorticoid stimulate the gluconeogenesis, lipolysis, proteolysis, etc. So next, when it comes to the mineralocorticoids, so best mineralocorticoid is the aldosterone. Aldosterone, and this regulate the water and electrolyte in our body. Okay, so these are the functions. So you can see here how does it act. So both the adrenal medulla as well as adrenal cortex. I already said during stress situation, so there is a stimulation of this, and finally it stimulates the adrenal medulla, and there will be secretion of epinephrine, and during that time glycogen is broken down into glucose, so glucose level increases. So increased blood pressure, breathing rate, metabolic rate automatically module, and everywhere we will get more energy. Thus we could able to face the situation. Okay. When it comes to the mineralocorticoids, so retention of the sodium ions in the water by kidneys, increased blood volume and the blood pressure, and glucocorticoid proteins and fats broken down and converted into glucose, leading to the increased blood glucose level. Okay. So these are how does the adrenal medulla hormones and the cortical hormones act. Okay. So here you should know about the hormones by adrenal cortex as well as medulla, names, which are hormones you should know, and what are the rules of that hormone. Okay. So there is a deficiency of or underproduction of the adrenal cortex hormone that leads to the alteration of carbohydrate metabolism, causing acute weakness as well as fatigue, which leads to the disease called Addison's disease. Okay. When there is a lack of production of the adrenal cortex hormone secreting from adrenal cortex. So due to the lack of that hormone, the person feels very weakness. So you can see the weight loss, weakness, etc. Hypoglycemia. So the glucose level will be reduces. Okay. So the disease name you should remember here. So the next part is pancreas. So this is situated so below the stomach. So this pancreas is a flattened organ, lies in the abdominal, posterior and slightly inferior to the stomach. Okay. It is a very thin leaf-like structure, but it is called the heterocrine gland because it acts as both exocrine as well as endocrine gland. It is also called composite gland. So historically, it consists of islets of Langerhans and the acini cells. Islets of Langerhans, which is the endocrine part of the pancreas, whereas acinas is the exocrine part of the pancreas, which secrete various enzymes. Okay. So if you take the islets of Langerhans or the endocrine region of pancreas, it possesses various cells like alpha cells, beta cells, so then gamma cells, delta cells, F cells, etc. Out of the two cells are very important. So alpha cells that secrete enzyme called, that secrete hormone called glucagon. So this glucagon, which increases the blood glucose level. So it is a peptide hormone and it mainly acts on the liver cells or hepatocyte and stimulate the glycogenolysis. And it increases the glucose level as well as it helps in decreasing the absorption of the glucose to the cells. So you can see here in this diagram. So it acts on the mainly liver and it makes the stored glycogen into glucose. Thus the glucose level will be increasing. Okay. Another hormone which is secreting from the beta cells. So that is called the insulin, one of the major hormone. And so this decreases the blood glucose level. So it converts the glucose into glycogen and it also helps or stimulates the absorption of more glucose by the cells so that the blood glucose enter inside the cell, helps for the metabolic activity. Thus, in the blood, the glucose level will be reduces or maintained. So both glucagon as well as the insulin, which maintains the blood glucose level. So insulin reduces the blood glucose level, glucagon increases the blood glucose level. But both together it controls the glucose level. Suppose if there is a deficiency of this insulin, so which leads to increasing in the glucose in the blood. So this continuous increasing in the glucose level in the blood, which leads to the disease called diabetes mellitus, very common disease in India. So the next endocrine gland, which not only endocrine gland, which also a primary sex organ, that is testis. So if you take the internal structure of testis, so this testis is covered by large number of highly coiled structure called seminiferous tubule, that is a structural and functional unit of testis. So this seminiferous tubule is the one which produces the sperms. Okay. Even it also consists of, in between the seminiferous tubule, it consists of interstitial tissues. So the Leydig cells or the interstitial cells produce a hormone. So that is the interstitial space has the cells called interstitial cells. It is also called Leydig cells. So that produces the androgen, that is the testosterone. So during puberty, testosterone helps to bring about the large number of changes in the boy. So they turn into adult. So increase in the muscle mass and the strength, increasing in the height, growth of facial and the pubic hair, deepening of voice and male hair patterns, the formation of beard, mustache, etc. And the sperm production begins during the puberty when there is a production of the hormone takes place. So another primary organ, that is the ovary. You know, this ovary is located in the abdomen of female. So you know the testis is extra abdominal, whereas ovary is situated inside the abdominal region. This ovary produces the ovum or the secondary oocyte, so during 14th day of menstrual cycle. So this ovary produces two hormones, estrogen as well as progesterone. So you should know which part of the ovary produces estrogen as well as progesterone. So this ovary, ovary which consists of large number of ovarian follicles. So when the child reaching to the puberty stage, so there will be formation of primary follicles. It is transforming into secondary follicles, then into tertiary follicle, then into Graafian follicle. So these follicles are the one which produces the estrogen. So these follicles are surrounded by the egg or oocyte. Okay. So it is responsible for the development of growing ovarian follicles, the appearance of so you know when she reaches puberty, there will be a high pitch of voice, there will be a development of mammary gland and lots of other changes takes place in the female body. That is due to the estrogen. Progesterone is another hormone which is secreting from the ovary. So there is a gland called corpus luteum. You should know what is this corpus luteum. So the completely developed follicle called Graafian follicle, so which ruptures on the 14th day of menstrual cycle during ovulation. So these ruptured follicles are transformed into yellowish color structure called corpus luteum. So that secrete progesterone. Suppose if she become pregnant, so this corpus luteum retains in the ovary and it continuously produces the progesterone to maintain the pregnancy. Because uterus is preparing for the pregnancy, there is an innermost layer called endometrium that should be thickened and the growing embryo should attach to the endometrium, that is called implantation. So for that progesterone is required. So as in the beginning there is no formation of placenta, so progesterone is completely secreting from the corpus luteum. Later stages, even placenta also starts secreting the progesterone. So this progesterone supports the pregnancy. So suppose if the female does not become pregnant, so corpus luteum convert into structure called corpus albicans. Finally it degenerates. Okay, because there is no need of progesterone if she is not become pregnant. So degeneration of the corpus luteum, which is converted into a structure called corpus albicans. So next there are certain hormones also secreting from the heart, kidney and gastrointestinal tract also. So these various hormones we also call it as a factors. So ANF, atrial natriuretic factor. So it is a peptide hormone which is secreting from the atrial wall of the heart, which decreases the blood pressure. So whenever the more amount of flow of the blood takes place inside the atrium or auricles. So A and F will be secreting. So it do the vasodilation. So when there is a vasodilation, blood pressure will be decreases. Another one is called glomerulus of the kidney. Okay. So this juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney that secrete the factor called erythropoietin. So erythropoietin is a peptide hormone and it stimulates the erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis means RBC formation. So you know RBC is also producing mainly from the bone marrow cells. Other than that, whenever it is required, so other than bone marrow, even so this also stimulates the production of RBC. Okay, erythropoietin hormone which stimulates the production of RBC. So which is producing from juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney. Next we will come to the our alimentary canal. So gastrointestinal tract which secrete 4 major peptide hormones: gastrin, cholecystokinin and gastric inhibitory peptide. So how does it act? So gastrin, the word itself indicates gastrin. It acts on the gastric gland. You know human gastric gland which is situated on the wall of the stomach, and it secretes hydrochloric acid as well as various enzymes. The juice is called the gastric juice. So this gastrin which stimulates the gastric glands to secrete the hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Hydrochloric acid is secreting from oxyntic cells. So oxyntic cells of gastric gland, and the chief cells secrete the pepsinogen which is the inactive form of pepsin. Secretin is another hormone act on the exocrine pancreas. You know what is exocrine, which is the enzyme releasing part of the pancreas, and stimulate the secretion of water and bicarbonate ion. So usually when the food reaches to the duodenum, it is coming from the stomach. So stomach, it is highly acid because the acidic content is very high. So when it reaches to the duodenum or the intestine, so neutralization of this food should take place. So that is why bicarbonate is releasing from the pancreas in order to neutralize the food when it is reaching to the intestine. Another one is CCK. It acts on both pancreas as well as gallbladder and stimulate the secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juice. So bile juice is secreting from the liver. Bile juice consists of bile which helps in emulsification of the fat. So this bile juice is temporarily storing on the gallbladder. So gallbladder, the duct is called the cystic duct. So this shrinks or stimulate the cystic duct to release the bile. Okay. Next, another hormone is called gastric inhibitory peptide, GIP, which inhibit the gastric secretion. Whenever the gastric juice is not required, imagine you're fasting or food is not there in your stomach. Such cases, we don't want more gastric juice, etc. Such cases, so this inhibitory hormones which inhibits the gastric secretions. Okay. Next, the classification of hormones. Classification of hormones. So these hormones are classified into peptides, polypeptide, protein hormones. So some of the example is insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormone. You know all the so many hormones are secreting from pituitary. Totally 9 hormones are secreting, isn't it? hypothalamic hormone, releasing hormone, inhibiting hormone. All these hormones are the peptide hormones, okay, or polypeptide, protein originated hormones. Next is steroid hormones. So steroid hormones are cortisol, aldosterone, so testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, all these are the steroid hormones. Okay, that is a lipid derivative hormones. Iodothyronin. You know, thyroid gland secrete T3 and T4, triiodothyronin and tetraiodothyronin. So they are the thyroid hormone or iodothyronins. Amino acid derivative hormone, epinephrine. So that is adrenaline and noradrenaline. Epinephrine and norepinephrine, they are the examples for amino acid derivatives. Okay. So these are the classification of hormones. Based on the classification, mechanism of hormonal action will be different. Okay. So based on the hormonal action, it depends mainly on the which type of hormone act on which target organ. So we will study about the two kinds of hormone. One is the steroid hormone and another one is the protein originated hormone. Okay. First we will study the proteinaceous hormone. We have studied about, so most of the hormones secreting from the pituitary, they are proteinaceous hormone. For example, LH, FSH, ACTH, TSH, GH. All these are the hormones, they are the proteinaceous hormone. So these proteinaceous hormones are soluble in water. So as it is soluble in water, so it cannot pass through the lipid membrane. So now if you take an example as FSH, that is follicular stimulating hormone, you know its main target organ is the ovary. It helps for the formation of follicles, for the growth of the follicles, okay, to primary, secondary to tertiary, etc. So this hormone which is secreting from the anterior pituitary passes through the blood and it comes to the target organ and called the ovary. Ovary possesses the ovarian cell membrane. You know, cell membrane consists of lipid. So as this is soluble in water, it cannot passes directly through the cell membrane. So that is why cell membrane have the receptors. So always receptors are required for the hormonal action. So each receptor bind with hormone. You know, most of the hormones are protein, but other than that, there are few hormones are other than the proteinaceous you have studied now, isn't it? Now we are studying about the proteinaceous hormone. So this hormone bind with the receptor and hormone receptor complex is producing here. So as the hormone cannot enter inside the cell, so there should be a production of hormone like messenger, that is called the second messenger. So its first response is to produce or generate the second messenger. So there are various second messengers like cyclic AMP, adenosine monophosphate, or calcium, or IP3, enol triphosphate. All these are the various second messengers. The word messenger, it resembles the hormone only. Okay. So that's why to do the work of the hormone, as hormone cannot enter inside the cell. So now these second messengers which produces the biochemical responses. And the biochemical responses, you know, it includes the transcription, translation, all such things, isn't it? So when there is a biochemical responses are happening, there will be physiological responses. So what this FSH hormone will do? It helps for the ovarian follicular growth. So that is called physiological responses. So when the child is reaching to the maturity, so this ovarian follicular growth will begin till she reaches the menopause. So every month, so there will be single secondary oocyte will be releasing from the ovary, each ovary, 1 month one ovary, from another month another ovary. So for that, so there will be a growth of the follicle should also takes place, because it should convert into completely grown follicle called Graafian follicle. Okay. So this is called the physiological process. So here what you have to remember for the need point of view, so the proteinaceous hormone cannot enter inside the cell, so its receptor is present on the cell membrane. So there will be a production of second messengers. Okay. Next, when it comes to the lipid derivative, that is the steroid hormones. Okay. For example, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Target organ will be different for different one. So one of the example for the steroid hormone is estrogen. Now imagine you know from where estrogen is secreting, isn't it? You studied about follicular cells which releases estrogen. So its target organ is which one? Uterine membrane. So uterine membrane, even progesterone also its target organ is uterine membrane. So uterus is the target organ. So this hormone, as it is a lipid derivative, steroid hormone, so even plasma membrane, uterine membrane also made up of lipids, so it can easily passes through this uterine cell membrane. So when it easily passes through the cell membrane, so cell membrane do not possess any receptor. Okay. Now the hormone directly enter inside the cell. It can even cross the nuclear membrane also. It enter inside the nucleus, and inside the nucleus here you can find the receptor. So without receptor, hormonal action will never take place. Now each hormone have each specific receptor. So hormone will bind to the receptor and produces the hormone receptor complex. Okay. Now its action begins, and next action is there is a formation of protein. How does this is actually how does the physiological process takes place? So the formation of protein, first transcription takes place, translation takes place, and ultimately proteins are producing. Okay, that is called genetic expression. So this induces the physiological responses. For example, tissue growth and differentiation. For the tissue growth, what is required? Proteins are required, isn't it? Thus, what are the required protein that will be synthesizing only after the binding of receptor hormone complexes that induces the genetic expression. Thus, it produces the physiological responses. So here for the need point of view, what you have to remember, so steroid hormones are directly passes through the cell membrane. So the receptor is not present on the cell membrane, it is present inside the cell. So that much you have to remember. Here no secondary messengers are required. Okay. So this is the end of this chapter. So this chapter is important. Here memory based questions regarding the various roles as well as the various hormones and location is important.